Welcome to Tables,
Lists,
and Chairs. Welcome back to TLC on WrestleTalk. If it's your first time here and you don't know how the show works, here's the rules. Each of us have come up with a top 10 list of a certain wrestling category, and we're going to go through and reveal our picks at the same time. Sorry, Dan, I just hit you with my watch.
That's all right, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
we're all good.
Yeah, it's just
We're good friends.
It's just completely personal.
You know?
What we're going to do is we're going to reveal our picks at the same time, and each of our picks have been assigned a point value. So our number 10 pick is worth 1 point, our number 9 pick is worth 2 points, number 8 is worth 3, etc. All the way up to the top. We total up all the points at the end, and then we come up with a definitive correct answer for this wrestling category. And the category on this episode is the 10 best factions in wrestling history.
I found this really difficult.
Yeah.
I did as well, because
Yeah.
we put some parameters in for what a faction is, didn't we?
Yes, so a faction, to be clear, is not a tag team plus manager. That does not count. You need to have 3 plus wrestlers.
There's lots of things to think about. It's
Yeah.
actually, it's actually very smart.
Yeah.
This category.
It's actually really
I think
intellectual,
it's
this show.
really
This is-
smart and great.
It's going to be a great video.
We are
should
really
stay
smart and
watching.
great.
We are really smart and great.
Yeah, I agree.
Ben's here too.
Yeah.
It really is. He really is.
Hey, Ben.
Took him a while though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, he's a bit slow.
He's a bit slow. 3, 2.
Great timing.
Keep that in.
I'm ready now.
3, 2, 1. Starting off hot.
Oh, that is hot. That is hot.
Interesting.
The start of the next.
Well, okay. So these are our personal lists. This
Yeah.
is not about what we think is objectively the best. This is what our personal top 10 favorites. Now, this is the reason I got back into wrestling. This is the whole thing because I saw the angle on Raw and I saw their SummerSlam, the video package and their match at SummerSlam.
Daniel Bryan tried to kill Justin Roberts.
He sure
Yeah.
did,
Yeah.
you know? And you know what? A little murder's fun,
it's fun.
you know?
It's fun. We've all
just-
done one.
We've all done at least just a little one.
We've all done one.
Yeah.
Ben's done 2.
Exactly. Yeah, Ben.
But he,
Anyway.
didn't intend either of them.
No.
That was the thing.
Because he's so
Quite
stupid.
stupid.
I'm smelling a theme to an episode.
What's that? It's the sound of a new bit.
Yeah. Oh. For me, the Nexus it is that moment, that lightning in a bottle, the presentation of them initially until SummerSlam. That is the reason I started watching wrestling again. And for me, that will always hold a really special place in my heart. I was the guy who went back and was like, what's all their finishers? And watched a finisher compilation from NXT Season 1 and, you know, all that stuff. Like, that is my gateway into everything that is today. So this always will have a place in my heart. But I can't put it any higher than 10 because it is bad.
Yeah, it spoiler alert, doesn't appear on my list
Yeah,
at all.
no,
but like
100%, yeah.
it was also something interesting about NXT, that sort of weird game show thing that they tried to do. I remember sitting down to watch the first episode of it while I was at uni and then just being like, huh? So then for it to birth an angle like that, whether or not the program worked out in the end, the angle was like, wrestling's about to get good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That went on
Absolutely.
for a good 12 years.
Yeah.
I honestly, I considered it having it on my list because of what it could have been. And it
Yeah.
was the potential.
Yeah.
And it was like close to, if John Cena had not won that
Yeah.
you know, like it
Could have been really good.
I think it could have been really good.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, they f***ed it.
And there's talent in that group.
There was
100%.
So, I mean,
Big
Oh, yeah.
talent.
name
As we all
them.
Okay. Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Michael Tarver, Skip Sheffield, Darren Young, and who haven't I said? Daniel Bryan? Did I say him?
You haven't said
Yeah, Daniel Bryan.
Just a small matter of Brian Daniels.
Well, look. Oh no, there must be one more then, because there would have been 8, including Brian. Who have I not said?
Husky Harris.
Husky Harris?
No,
Was he
that was
not in it?
season 2. That was New Nexus.
Season 2.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Who am I
10th
missing?
spot.
Did I say David Otunga?
No, I don't think you did.
Okay, David Otunga.
There
you go.
There we go. There we go.
Nexus. Spent way too long in that entry. What's yours?
I picked the BFFs. I went a bit renegade and rogue with mine. Who are the BFFs, you're asking?
Yes.
It's Summer Rae, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks in NXT. The beautiful fierce females. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So you really went renegade.
I really went
Yeah.
renegade. And I'll tell you why. Because the point of NXT is to sort of allow character development and the development of a diamond in the rough into that polished diamond that goes on to do amazing things. And when you consider what the debut characters of Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Summer Rae, hi, you're also here. When you consider where they were at the beginning of it and then what they have gone on to do since, I think it's a real foundational moment for them to lean in and discover who they are. And the BFFs in 10th place. I just wanted to give them a little shout out.
This might rank higher in other people's lists, but I didn't really actually experience that much of their Heart Foundation. But I felt like they needed a place on this list, so I put them at 10.
That's valid.
Historically, they do need a place on this list, but I can't tell you that much about them. But I've heard they're bloody great.
3, 2, 1.
Oppa!
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah,
spicy
that
at
is
number
spicy,
9.
yeah.
Spicy,
Now look,
spicy, hot.
Maybe he's got DX 2000 later on.
Yeah.
You had the Heart Foundation at 10 because you didn't actually experience that much of the Heart Foundation. I didn't actually experience that much of DX. Like, I wasn't really watching at the time. I didn't like the later versions of them.
No.
But, the originals,
Cocky
good.
Poo Poo DX.
Yeah, the Hornswoggle DX.
Yeah,
Not
no.
a huge fan.
The Willy Bum Bum Poo Poo DX.
Yeah, exactly that. Not a huge fan of that DX, but historically, they are very important. They are very good. So I had to have them on here.
Yeah. To that point, not dissimilar to I came into wrestling around the time of the Nexus. I came into wrestling and the Corporation were a thing.
Yeah.
So the Corporation,
Oh, very good.
You know, with your Big Boss Man and Ken
yeah.
Shamrocks and your all the rest of them, and then Triple H joins. He leaves DX to join the Corporation with China, and that felt, how very dare you? And China is partnered with Kane and all this stuff. They were my first ever big bad. I have fond memories of it. Whether or not it was good or effective is a different question. But for me, it's the Corporation.
Now, this is actually one that, for me, I was coming back into wrestling, and the White family had already been established by the time I came back into wrestling. But I just loved it. It was so different. I love this sort of cultish vibe, and I think this is the best Bray Wyatt. May he rest
With the
in peace.
chair and the hat.
Yeah, absolutely. The way he would talk was always so interesting and different. I got that feeling of like slight shivers every single time I'd see him. And I was like, yeah, this is what I like about wrestling. Very good. And then I watched that thing where Daniel Bryan turns against him, and it was so good.
Yes.
The best.
Hey there, you watching. Did you know we have a whole other episode of TLC exclusive on our Patreon page? Join me, Sullivan, and Dan as we go through the 10 best wrestlers never to win a world championship. Go and watch that right now. Link is in the description. Here's a clip.
I just want British Bulldog to win a match, to win the big one.
I would have loved it if he'd been the first British WWE champion. That would have been fantastic. His voice is so rough.
Yep.
Especially as a Brit watching wrestling. I only caught really probably the end of his time in WWE, but him, and then all I had was William Regal, who was perpetually a heel. Very frustrating.
Yeah.
So for me, this is a bit more of a personal one. I would have loved to him to have won.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, nearly.
So close.
Spicy.
Again, spicy,
Yeah.
you think, hey?
Yeah.
His top
But it's
faction is
slowed
going to be
down.
like
The core.
Well, see, I was just so into it at the time.
Into it, guys.
It's a personal list.
I love the way that their t-shirt was asymmetric.
And spelled wrong. Bullet Club are historically one of the most important factions in the history of wrestling. You've got your S-tier upper echelons of like NWO and Bullet Club. Like, they are right up there. If you look at the ramifications of the wrestling industry and how it's affected stuff in WWE and AEW, literally the formation of that company and the Elite and New Japan and everything, it is so important to the foundation of wrestling. I don't think it's great nowadays. You know, it's fine. But the different iterations of Bullet Club all being important foundation markers and like almost time capsules of different parts of New Japan as a promotion, the success that faction has, they're awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Bullet Club.
I think you're dead right. I think especially when you talk about the sort of like wider impact on the entire wrestling landscape as a whole. And I can't wait to hear you speak effusively about the 3-man band. Now,
There's another list that this group is featuring.
most rad people and haircuts.
That was it. Yeah.
I went with Team Extreme, the Hardy Boys and Lita. because those were my favorite people in the world. They looked different. They behaved and wrestled different. Lita especially was a renegade outside of the box. I remember watching her debut. I've spoken about it and written about it in the magazine as sort of the moment I got hooked on wrestling, because here was this woman with flaming red hair who didn't look like any of the other women, and she had a big tattoo on her shoulder, and she did a moonsault that was better than S.A. Rios' moonsault. Go back and watch it. I'm telling the truth. And immediately I was like an absolute super fan of this person. I would be scouring SmackDown and Raw looking for Lita specifically. And over time I was like, I really think that she should be like hanging out with the Hardy Boys. And then she did. And they wore like cool baggy trousers and like just their whole alternative vibe, and they were in Rolling Stone, and I thought they were amazing. I can't in good conscience say they changed the wrestling industry, but they certainly changed my life. So thanks, guys.
You never forget your first big bad.
Yeah.
I remember just every single week being so frustrated by the shit they would do, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful heel work, and they kind of all f***ed it with making it the corporate ministry. That was strange.
Yeah.
That was a strange one. This was everything. I mean, this is the height of my watching as a child.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh, so close, so close, so close.
Ooh, now I'm surprised the Shield is actually that low for you.
Yeah. I love the Shield. I love the Shield. They're great. They were part of that era where it was the Wyatt family and the Shield. And I remember saying to my mate who get me back into wrestling, I was like, have they ever faced each other? And he's like, yeah, that was really good. Oh, wow. Oh, that sounds great. They look so cool. There's nothing cooler than wearing
Flak jackets.
I love a flak jacket, man. Amazing. Love it. But there are better ones.
You kind of echo everything that you say there. I remember vividly any time you would have an AJ Styles or Finn Balor moment where they would be kind of close to each other in the ring in WWE, close to each other in the backstage area, it felt like, oh, this is electric because I know this. And they would kind of mention it, but not quite mention it, which gave it this almost ethereal quality. Michael Cole would sort of say these guys both were in charge of a club in a different country. The impact on the wider wrestling world is a special slice of magic.
I can't think of another faction that is like currently active in so many promotions at the same time.
Right.
Like they're active in AEW with the Bang Bang Gang and in New Japan, and they have the House of Torture, and they have the OC in WWE. That's all Bullet Club, and it's all like genuinely recognized. But having said all that, huge faction to just 3 people who make the absolute best out of a really bad situation where they were all being booked quite poorly, and then they came together and were like, no, we're actually amazing, and we're going to show you how we're amazing. And they made an incredible success out of what was going to be a terrible gimmick that they were saddled with. But just through their sheer charisma, they got over with everybody, and everyone goes, oh, we love these guys.
Yeah.
And then it leads to Big E winning the WWE Championship, with Kofi winning the WWE Championship, and Kofi Mania and all that stuff. And it's all because of the New Day, because they are incredible. I love the New Day so much, and I wish them all the best in everything because they're great, and I love them. 3, 2, 1. Ooh.
We keep just dancing around each other, getting ready.
Look, 4 Horseman.
Yes.
Just one of them.
Yes, just one of them. I didn't spell it wrong at all.
Which 4 horsemen are you thinking of?
It's a man with 4 horses.
The 4 horseman.
I'm the 4 horseman.
And the 4 horses are the faction in question. Yeah.
Yeah. It was one manager who was the man, and his 4 horses who were the wrestlers.
Perfect.
Well, I refuse to change it. I'm stupid. Okay. Now you might be thinking, Sullivan, you weren't around for the Heart Foundation. How were you around for the 4 Horseman? Well, I wasn't either. But I recognise that they were very important. From what I've read, it's sort of like one of the very first, if not maybe the very first, sort of heel stable faction sort of groups, and has made all of this list happen. But I can't in any good conscience, put them much higher, only because I don't know their body of work as well as I should. So that's why I've gone for the 4 Horseman.
Yeah, I will say the 4 Horsemen It's Four Horseman. But either of the Four Horsemen or the Four Horseman.
Yeah.
And like the Heart Foundation are not on my list.
Same.
At all. Wow. Because of the not really being present or around during it thing.
What you say?
I call it the Will Ospreay rule. If I haven't seen it, not getting involved. But to your point, like there are other factions on my list for whom the Four Horsemen are it. Do you know what I mean? Like and in fact, all of wrestling, I would argue, owes a legacy to the Four Horsemen. So very, very smart call. Who did I say again?
The Shield.
The reason the debate of who is your best member of the Shield is such a fun one is because there is literally no wrong answer. Yes. This year, we have had all three. If I'm not wrong with my timings, all three of them were holding world championships at the same time. When did Moxley win the IWGP?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh. Tempest is going into his Mind Palace.
Tempest is here.
Tempest
Hold on.
is in his Mind Palace.
Because Seth would have lost it at Mania.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying, because Seth and Roman both lost it at Mania. So if it's around the time, either way, while he's doing that, I'll make my salient point, which is they all held the title on the same night. At that one time, and that felt electric. It's gutting that we never got that like full-on proper WrestleMania main event triple threat match that I think people have dreamed of. We'll probably never get it, but the fact that in this year, 11 years after the debut of the Shield, if I'm not getting my maths wrong,
It was 2012.
Oh, so 12
years.
12 years. We've had world champion Seth Rollins, world champion Roman Reigns, and world champion Jon Moxley.
You're right, it does sound higher than number 6. Well, the Wyatt family, for me, is kind of what you were saying.
That was really fun. I like that.
I think they are captivating. And the fact that he could portray a cult leader with such conviction, I feel like he kind of was. In the we were all entranced by him. You know, like we were the puppets in his cult. Backed up by incredible in-ring work, not just from Bray, but from Luke Harper and Eric Rowan as well, to portray these characters so convincingly in-ring. They were incredible, and it's such a shame that really the booking is what held them back. Wyatt cut compelling promos and then never won.
Yeah.
And that just kind of damaged the whole thing. But these guys are incredible. 3, 2, 1.
I like that. Usually we do handshakes, but I like our boards just f***ing.
I thought you were going to say kissing.
No. F***ing.
Yeah.
They're going to make little baby
together.
boards. Little tiny boards. Congratulations. It's a board.
Evolution, hey?
Yeah.
It's a mystery. I think is that how the words go? It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Full of dreams that no one sees.
Something like that, yeah?
And then I'll go and get my keys. Yeah.
I made a really, really nice quiche.
Lemmy, this sounds great. Just one quick note.
Oh yeah, what's that? Evolution. I mean, this is the faction that I was thinking like, well, there haven't been that many factions where all of them are legitimately top stars, and then I remembered Evolution existed.
That part.
And it's just, the experience. You had the person who's already the top star. You've got the young up and comer, and you've got the muscle. And it's this perfect mix of like, almost, if you're talking about it in sitcom, comedic, technical terms, Mater, Pater, Craftsman, and Clown. But it's if you want to talk about it like that.
You gotta subscribe to Patreon
these
for that
guys
kind of
do.
stuff.
Yeah,
I actually do. I want. Let's do it. We don't have the time, but let's do it.
We don't have the time, but we'll do it. But yeah, it is. I think it's the perfect mix of those types of stars.
One of them is a worldwide film superstar. Everything a faction should be. If this is why it is for me. This is the Four Horsemen again. Like, it's so good.
Yes.
Is the Judgment Day recency bias? Yes, but I love that they started off very shaky.
Yeah.
Because it was originally, this is Edge's new spooky faction.
Spooky jobbers.
Ooh. And then it was cool to see like Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley like join Edge in a faction. Like, that's cool. And then they became really bad. And then all the stories really sucked. And then they turned on Edge for no reason. And then Finn Balor was there. And it was all a complete mess. Everything changed. and they became the coolest motherfuckers on Raw. Dominic Mysterio becoming the most hated man in the company for joining the Judgment Day. Like, they have made, in a similar way to, you know, the New Day being handed a terrible gimmick and then making the best of it, the Judgment Day started off terribly and have just become this massive, really important story point in the entirety of WWE for years now. Like, they are really, really important.
This could have been so shit.
Yes, it could have been. They carried on the way they were going.
Yeah.
Would have been real bad.
And it's so good. No, I mean, it's elevated everyone in the group.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me, oh, Damian Priest would be world champion, I'd be like, yeah, I guess so. But it made sense. Him being world champion, I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm fully on board with that. But whereas before, I would have been like, oh, yeah, cool. I guess you couldn't find anyone else, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
It would
yeah.
have been that. But now it's like, yeah.
Oh, the magic is broken!
No!
Ha!
Stupid Ben!
3, 2, 1.
Oh, spicy! Spicy.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Number 4. Like, it's very
Spicy.
high on my list. There's just things I personally like more because, again, I didn't watch during this era. And I especially didn't watch WCW. Like, I just didn't watch it. So everything I know about NWO is historical. I'm like, that was an important part of wrestling history. Great. I have no personal attachment to NWO. Having said that, they're incredibly historically important.
It's not Pete's fault if Indus Sher is his favorite.
You're gonna be so sad.
Correct.
When you
When it's not
realize
Indus Sher.
when you realize what my top 3 are, you're gonna be like, yeah, that totally makes sense. The impact of that has been felt. You know, we talk about Bullet Club. That wouldn't have happened without NWO. Like,
true.
it's so like. Not quite a carbon copy, but very heavily inspired by this. And the fact that you took, you know, Hulk Hogan and the Outsiders and made them into this, and then that faction grew, it essentially set up WCW for what would be success until they f***ed it.
Well, you know what? I think with this, we've spoken a lot about this already, but it's as you say, it's like amazing how it crosses so many promotions. You can even make an argument without Billet Club.
I think I met him.
Yeah, Billet. My name's Bill It Club.
Hang on, wasn't Billet Club the Four Horsemen?
Yeah.
That was,
He's my 4 horse. I'm the 4 horseman. My name's
Billet
Bill It Club.
We must move on. We have
Anyway,
so
without
little
this,
time.
you might not have had things like AEW.
Yes.
AEW might not even
Absolutely.
exist without Bullet Club.
100%.
So that's enough to put it high up on my list.
to sort of piggyback off what you were saying earlier, and then again, you repeated yourself with the Judgment Day, had no right to work. It certainly had no right to last 10 years. For me, it's the sheer tenacity of being handed a bucket full of and somehow spinning it to gold. Through sheer entertainment value and commitment to their characters and their work, they pulled themselves back around and became that super babyface group that somehow they were supposed to be initially. 2 world championships, being on separate brands. They haven't been a 3-person unit in a long time, but they still are. They're still an active New Day in my mind, and in the minds of probably all the fans. I just think they're magic, and I think that they are 3 of the most important, special, kindest men in wrestling, and I think they should be celebrated forever and ever. Amen.
3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I love you. Undisputed Era. Well, this is a personal list, but not that I don't think they should be in the top 10, but they're just not in the top 10. Hey, look, they're great. They're great. I think they're great.
They are.
I think they're great. I think they're great. They're just not in the top 3 for me. I'm just saying it's a personal list. They're great. No, they're very good.
It just sounds like you don't think they are at all.
I know. I just think they're great. I think they're great. Just wouldn't even get near the top 10, but that's fine. That's great. They're great. No, they're great. They're great.
Like, we're talking about the same faction, right?
Yeah,
like the coolest fucking faction to ever exist in NXT.
Yeah, they're very good.
Like at one point they were the best thing in wrestling.
Yeah.
Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Like that faction.
Yeah.
That arguably the best theme music in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
It's number 1 on my list anyway. Because it's great.
It's a personal list.
Number 1 on your list, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Behind, well, the 3-man band!
Yeah. That was number 0.
Yeah.
Seriously, Undisputed Era were at a time when I was already in love with NXT. and they just kept bringing in more and more people. And I'm like, well, I love this person now. Oh yeah, I love Bobby Roode. Oh, Drew McIntyre's back. That's great. Oh, Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish here. That's fucking awesome. And then they came in and they were really cool, and they added Brody Strong, and I'm like, this faction is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I realized that it was actually the third coolest thing I've seen in my life. But it was really
Behind the
fucking
man
good.
band at the core.
Yeah, of course.
But this era of NXT was so special to me at the time. I very nearly got a tattoo of the Undisputed Era logo. That is how much they meant to me.
But I've got 2 words for you. Suck it.
I'd rather not.
Oh yeah, we've our ons. We do our picks.
Yes, absolutely. This was great, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Remember this? Remember this?
All right,
When we
next.
were kids? Remember this when we were kids? It was great, wasn't
suck
it?
it, suck it. Yeah.
It was like having. It was
Oh,
like
you didn't know?
I didn't, clearly.
It's like having a faction of naughty children
It really was.
running around their tanks, going.
Occasionally do something quite racist, but that's fine. It was a different time.
It was a different time.
Different time.
Different
But no,
time.
there's
Right,
also
it really deserves to be number 3. You guys are selling it really well.
but again, it was that thing.
Listen, we're not arguing.
Oh no!
Stupid Ben.
DX's presence as this kind of, again, alternative wrestling in 1995-6 had got stale af. All of the sort of like Howard Stern, Jerry Springer bollocks that DX were about made it feel wild and different. Chyna's presence and how important she was to DX being, again, not what a woman or a manager should look like. Tapping into that generational experience, then Shawn Michaels goes off and in come these other guys that turn it into babyface, and they were around for probably a cup of coffee, like certainly comparatively to other factions on our list. They weren't around for that long, but the fact that we have since had like several reunions and we get them wheeled out on telly for the 25th anniversary of DX, and 2 of them are now running the show, is kind of wild.
I've realised that most of my list, and this is a perfect example of this, is essentially a man eating member berries. Remember DX? I remember.
Oh, I remember.
And like, remember 4 Horsemen?
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't, but other
Some
people
people
remember. Other people remember. That's my whole list.
3, 2, 1.
Bang!
Oh, okay. I think I know what yours is. Number 1. But this probably should be my number 1.
Yeah, but it isn't, is it?
No, it isn't, because my number 1 and my number 2 swapped about 8 times,
Really?
and I eventually went, okay, I'm going to put this at number 2 because this story isn't over yet. This story could go on for years, and I would be over the moon. Oh God, the emotions. I have not felt these emotions since I was a child watching wrestling. The emotions that this group has put me through is amazing and horrible and brilliant. I don't care that the matches go on f***ing ever. I want them to go on longer. That's how much I like them. And I love this group.
DX doesn't really exist without the NWO.
100%.
Not only because, the Clique are such a big part of NWO, but also because it was a response in some ways.
Yes.
WWE at the time was still stuck in its way, while over in the other company, they were pushing boundaries and making people genuinely believe that fights were breaking out on the lot. It's just electric, and whether or not it was executed well in the long run, 26 majillion people joining, NWO Wolfpack, it is undoubtedly cool.
Yes.
There was a cool feeling. In as much as Bullet Club has changed the wrestling landscape now, that in itself doesn't get changed without the NWO 20 years prior.
All very compelling arguments, but the Shield are really cool. So,
They wear black jackets.
number 2. To get philosophical about this for a second, what is the purpose of a faction, right? What's the point of creating a faction? It's there for a narrative purpose, right? There should be a point. Instead of calling up 3 new people from NXT, why would you put them in a group together to hide their weaknesses, to accentuate their strengths, to elevate them all at the same time? And the Shield did that f***ing perfectly, because you didn't know that Roman Reigns was dog shit promos while he was in the Shield because they didn't let him talk. And they accentuated everybody's positives to make this really cohesive faction to make you think these are the next main eventers that they're going to be. And then for a while, they made sure that Roman Reigns was, even when he definitely shouldn't have been because he wasn't ready. And the Shield's history is still relevant. It's still being brought up as part of the Bloodline story.
Oh my God.
It's still being brought up as part of like
The main event of WrestleMania.
right? They do the Shield powerbomb as a taunt to Roman Reigns now. The new Bloodline is still doing the Shield powerbomb. Like, the Shield is fucking everywhere. It is so important to WWE's history, and it is a perfect example of why you do factions. Because when you do it right, it's fucking perfect.
And it lives forever. That is a salient, brilliant point. Well made. That is so. You're so
The
right.
Shield should have been higher on my list.
Well,
actually,
because,
having heard that.
like,
And
it
the
did-
Undisputed Era should have been on there. Stupid Ben.
Don't forget.
He told me. He said, "Don't go in there with that.
Put in
You look
Billet
ridiculous."
Club.
And I was like, "What do you know about? You don't. What? Are you? Why don't you like the Undisputed Era?" He's like, "I hate them. I hate them, and I hate Pete."
He said, "You know
why
who
do you
I
hate Pete?
He said, "You
He's
know
a
who I
lovely
like?
guy."
The Four Horseman." He
He said, "Put down the Four Horsemen." And I said, "Is that how you spell horseman?" And he said, "Yes, it is." Shouldn't have listened to stupid Ben.
"Stupid Ben."
3, 2, 1.
The Social Outcasts. Sorry, the Bloodline. The Bloodline is my
B&B.
number one. Yeah, very good.
B&B.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Bloodline, really.
NWA stupid Ben.
Nice.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wait, was that one of the variants of the
Yeah,
NWO?
that was one of the
We had
variants.
NWO Wolfpack and NWO
NWO
Stupid Ben.
Stupid Ben.
Stupid Ben
There's
is
another
just
one,
stupid
yeah.
Ben in there.
Keep calling me stupid. You can't even spell now.
Joke of the whole episode goes to Ben.
You're not stupid anymore, are you?
NWO.
I would say this is really the reason why we had the Attitude Era in a sense, because without them pushing the boat out and doing something like pretty different and being the incredibly cool cats that they were, I think WWE wouldn't have responded in the same way. They probably would have just trundled along. They became too bloated, too silly, and ineffectual as the years went by. But in that golden era, really, when it was just the three of them, they didn't need any more than that. Eventually got to a point where there was more NWO wrestlers than there were regular WCW wrestlers. That's stupid, but there was a certain point where this was absolute gold dust.
I think everything that you said about the Bloodline was true, and everything you were saying about the Shield is true, and it is still so present in the current Bloodline. It's up there with the greatest stories in this medium that have ever been told. Pete, have you seen any of the Bloodline?
I might have, yeah. The Bloodline is the best story that WWE have ever done, without question. If you'd like to hear me talk about it, there's a video that's an hour and 50 minutes long where I just talk about how much I love this fucking story. The Bloodline are the best faction that have ever existed in wrestling. I don't have anything more to say because it's all in that video. It's so long. Go watch it because I talk about it so much. It's the best thing I've ever seen in wrestling. Full stop.
Don't worry, guys. Pete has actually learnt that video and is going to recite it to us right.
For 4 years, Roman Reigns. I have the results of the best factions. Adam Whitney, not in the room right now, though he has set up all the cameras, but he's working up in the office right now. Left us a note that just said, "I'm here in spirit." In joint third place with 18 points, DX and the Shield.
Oh,
Ooh, it's good.
I think that works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except you were criticizing me for having the Shield,
Yeah.
that high on my list.
No,
And you guys had it quite low, actually.
It
should be higher.
No, until
Yeah, but
until
we had
the-
DX quite high and you had the Shield quite low. So,
Yeah.
the DX quite low. Anyway.
Yes. Yep, you did.
Ben me.
Yeah. Stupid Ben.
Stupid Ben. It's stupid laugh.
In second place with 26 points, it's the NWO.
Yep.
And in first place with 29 points, it is the Bloodline.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
You know what?
That's a good list.
I think. I know it's opinion, but I think we've got that right.
I agree.
That's
I
a
think that
good
is the
fucking
one.
list.
Yeah.
And the secret honorable mention is Undisputed Era, obviously.
The
Well, of
real
course, yes,
best
absolutely.
faction is us.
Oh. Thank you for watching this episode of TLC. If you liked the video, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want more TLC, check out Luke, Tegan, and Dan giving their best matches of 2024 so far.
Nope.
Sprongfeld.
I'll say this would never happen in Shelbyville.
A fine choice.
Thank you. I did win.